Here at the Prudential Center for this Saturday afternoon matchup between Seton Hall and Florida A&M on Pirate Television. I'm Wilnir Lewis alongside Rony Jerez, and Seton Hall cruised to an 87-51 victory over the Rattlers. But let's break this down half by half. First half, Seton Hall went into the break up 36-24, and it was a pretty solid first half for Seton Hall defensively.
Yes, of course. In the beginning, they kind of went tit for tat there, scoring off consecutive plays, but then Seton Hall really kicked up the defense, and they led them to only 2 points in the paint in the first half for 16 points for the shoe Pirates, and they really set the tone. Those big bodies really made themselves feel present, and they just dominated defensively.
Held the Rattlers to 29% field goal percentage in that first half. And you talked about just the size of Seton Hall. The size advantage for the Hall throughout the game, but more importantly in the first half, was just extremely dominant.
Yes, those big men really tried to make themselves felt, and there was 4 blocks for the big men to 0 blocks for the Rattlers, and they really clogged up the paint, and that size advantage really was felt offensively too. The guards and big men were able to get into the paint with ease, and they made sure they clogged the paint on the defensive side of the ball.
16 points in the first half for the Hall inside of the paint. And then let's go into the second half. Seton Hall, well, first and foremost, in the first half, the Rattlers were able to go on a 9-0 scoring run to end off that half. And in the second half, the Rattlers took that momentum in the first half and really had it in the start of the second half. Yes,
Seton Hall really let the foot off the gas pedal after they kind of cruised and kind of sleptwalked, as Coach Willard said in the post-game press conference. They kind of let themselves get to it, and the Rattlers really stuck it to them. 9-0 run to end the first half, and then they came back in the second half playing great defense for the Rattlers, and they forced a lot of turnovers and got a lot of points off transition.
4 steals in the first 4 minutes, 4 turnovers for the Hall in that same time span. But then Seton Hall was able to really step it up later after the Rattlers were going out on that run.
Yeah, Seton Hall switched to a full-court press and really stepped it up intensity-wise. They made sure they get into the players, and they made it difficult for them to pass up the ball, advance it. They slowed them down, and they forced a lot of turnovers. They got a couple steals, and they really capitalized on these steals, scoring easy baskets on transition, and went on a quick 6-0 run that led to a bigger run.
And somebody who was stepping up for the Pirates in that second half, you talked about the easy buckets. Miles Powell, it seems like every time he scores, it's just an easy bucket for him. Only 8 points in the first half, 15 in the second half, and he was really the driving force for Seton Hall to really go out on those runs.
Yes, he seemed very aggressive in the second half. He took more shots. Half of his shots were 3-pointers. He took 9 threes, and he really led the way for the Pirates with 23 points and 5 rebounds. And he really set the tone and, does Miles Powell things.
And I mean, we could talk about Miles Powell all we want, but there's other Seton Hall players that really stepped up to the forefront in this game. Rony, just name one of those players.
For me, it's Jared Rhoden. He had a double-double. He had 10 points, 12 rebounds, which is really big for him. He's coming slowly back into his characteristics before he got injured, and he's not where he wants to be, but he's really making himself come back into where he was, and he really set the tone by coming out with this double-double.
A lot of praise for Jared Rhoden. Here's what he had to say about his performance after the postgame.
All my teammates have confidence in me to shoot the basketball, so I'm going to continue to shoot the basketball, and we'll go from there. And the percentages, I don't really care too much about the percentages because I know I can shoot the ball, so I'm just going to keep shooting. Last week I probably had my worst game at St. Louis, and I was in the gym constantly, late nights after practice, working on my shot, just extra time in the lift so I can get my legs stronger, just little things that I'm doing, paying more attention in practice and just listening to my coaches, and I'm just going to continue to progress from here.
Great stuff there from Jared Rhoden. Another player that stepped up, at least for me, on this game was the freshman Tyrese Samuels. 7 points, 6 rebounds in 19 minutes of play. Again, he's only a freshman, but for him to step up in these big moments at the Prudential Center, which was rocking today, I thought it was a very good performance.
Yes, it was a good showing by the crowd, and Tyrese Samuels looked a lot more comfortable out there. He played more minutes with Miles Powell, and he played more minutes than Sandro Mamukelashvili, which Kevin Willard was asked why he was taken out so early and didn't play that many minutes, and he just simply said he wasn't playing well. But the freshman really stepped up, looked more comfortable. He's going to see more minutes with Miles Powell because it is easier to play with Miles, but having him out there, getting him accustomed to the system and everything is really big for the freshman.
And we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Tareem Thompson. He got into the game for the first time this season after all of the scandal that was happening, and he just performed really good in the limited minutes that he had.
Yes, he played in honestly the cosmetic time of the game. It was basically over at that point, but he had 4 points, and as soon as he came in, the crowd was buzzing. Everybody knew what was about to happen, and he delivered. He had an and-one circuit shot, threw it up and off the backboard, and got the rock rocking. So it was really great to see him get out there and score those 4 points.
It was a great job by everybody on the Pirate squad, but now we have to look ahead. Thanksgiving time, and they're going to start their action on Wednesday when they go to the Bahamas to take on Oregon. It's going to be a very big matchup, and here's what Kevin Willard had to say about that tournament.
Our next 2 weeks are brutal. The 3 in Atlantis come back and play at Iowa State, at Rutgers, and we're home against Maryland. So it's a big test, Adam. It gives us a chance to kind of really see where we're at, and if it doesn't go our way, to really see where we need to go. So it's a good opportunity no matter what.
Once again, the Seton Hall Pirates took down the Florida A&M Rattlers 87-51 here at the Prudential Center. They'll be back on the Prudential Center on December 19th when they welcome Maryland to the building. But for Rony, Jerez, I'm Wilnir signing off here on Pirate Television.